Hello, welcome to Biography TV. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. Biography of Gabriel Léon M'ba. Gabriel Léon M'ba was a Gabonese politician who served as both the country's first prime minister from 1959 to 1961 and president from 1961 to 1967. M'ba was born on the 9th of February 1902 in Libreville, Gabon. His father, a member of the Fang ethnic tribe, was a village chief and manager of a small business who once worked as the hairdresser to Franco-Italian explorer Pierre Savorgnan de Brazza. His mother, Louise Bendome, was a seamstress and both parents were formally educated. M'ba's brother was Gabon's first Roman Catholic priest. In 1909, M'ba joined a seminary for his primary education, and in 1920, he got a job as a store manager before entering the French colonial administration as a customs agent. Although he performed excellently at the job, M'ba's activism in helping black Gabonese, particularly the Fangs, didn't go well with his superiors. Within 4 to 6 years, M'ba reconciled with colonial authorities and was appointed to succeed the deceased village chief of Libreville's Fang neighborhood. He ignored the advice of elder Fangs, doing what pleased him, and many interpreted this as strength and confidence. He forced labor on the people in his jurisdiction for personal use and used the proceeds to cover his large expenditures. Although the colonial administrators were aware of the embezzlement, they ignored it until 1929 when they began to investigate his activities. M'ba distanced himself from Roman Catholicism but did not completely abandon his faith. He, however, became more consistent with the Bwiti religious sect. In 1931, the sect was accused of murdering a woman whose remains were found outside a market in Libreville. This affected M'ba, who was removed from power and sentenced to 3 years in prison and 10 years of exile, even though there was no proof for his involvement in the murder. The colonial administration announced that the reason for his punishment was his abusive treatment of the local labor force and embezzlement of tax revenues. While exiled in Bambari and Bria, in the French territory of Ubangichari, he continued to leverage on his influence among Fangs through his compatriots in Libreville. The colonial administration found this disturbing, and as a result, Governor General Antonetti in 1934 ordered that M'ba be placed under surveillance. It was during this time in exile that he wrote about the customary rights of the Fang people in Essai de droit coutumier Pawan, interpreted as Essay of Pawan Customary Rights, which he published in Bulletin de la Société Recherche Congolaise in 1939. This work gained much popularity and quickly became the main reference for the Fang tribal customary law. Despite being in exile, the local administrators employed M'ba and had him be in an office where he did little or nothing. Later in 1942, he got a sentence reduction and became a civil servant in Brazzaville, where his prestige increased. In 1946, M'ba returned to Gabon and became a store manager in John Holt, an English trading house. It was in that year he founded a political party, the Gabonese Mixed Committee, CMG, with the main objective to obtain autonomy for its member states and oppose the idea of federalism propounded by the Senegalese leader Léopold Sédar Senghor. M'ba leveraged the large following he had garnered from Bwiti followers and also got the support of the Fang and Miyene people. He was determined to win indigenous administrative and judicial posts. After a failed trial in 1951, he managed to win a seat in the assembly in 1952. 2 years after, he left the CMG to join the Gabonese Democratic Bloc (BDG), led by Paul Gonjou, whom he intended to overthrow. Gonju, who was the secretary of the BDG at the time, appointed M'ba Secretary General. In the legislative elections of the 2nd of January 1956, he received 36% of the vote as against his opposition, Obama, who got 47%. As a result, he only got an office as leader of the indigenous territory. In the municipal elections of 1956, he received support from the French logging industry, especially Roland Bru, and was elected mayor of Libreville with 65.5% of the votes. In December 1958, the Assembly voted to establish the legislature and further made the Constitution of the Republic of Gabon on the 19th of February 1959. 8 days later, M'ba was appointed Prime Minister. On the 4th of December 1951, he was elected to replace Gonju as Secretary General of the BDG, and on the 12th of February the following year, he won 99.75% of the votes. He was then elected President of Gabon. A new constitution was unanimously adopted on the 21st of February 1961, making allowance for a presidential regime. These gave M'ba full executive powers to appoint ministers who he decide how they carried out their functions and responsibilities. Despite these, among other similar acts, he never liked to be called a dictator but considered himself a democratic leader. M'ba faced various oppositions as president and was even challenged with a coup. However, he survived the office until 1965, when he was aging and sick. He was succeeded by Albert Bernard Bongo, who was later known as Alhaji Omar Bongo Ondimba. Bongo was appointed on the 24th of September 1965 as presidential representative and placed in charge of defense and coordination. M'ba had a wife, Pauline, and 11 children. In August 1966, M'ba fell terribly ill and was admitted in a Paris hospital, Hôpital Charles Bernard. Despite his inability to govern, he remained particular about remaining president. On the 28th of November 1967, a few days after he took his presidential oath at the Gabonese embassy, following his re-election, he died of cancer in Paris. Gabon's main airport, the Léon M'ba International Airport, was named after him, and 40 years after his death, the Léon M'ba Memorial was built in Libreville in honor of him. What have we missed out of this biography of Léon M'ba? Let's know in the comment section. Will it be ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share and subscribe to our channel.